AM radio. I guess I remember when I was a child, we didn't have headsets and earphones and all that stuff. We had a little box of AM radios, and then you were spiffy if you had a little AM radio. And that was only back in the early 70s. So I like AM radio even until this day, and I was listening to this guy talk about the different views of God that we have in our world. And some people view God as very judgmental, and some people view God as not judgmental, but very over the grand scheme of things, but not involved in our lives individually. And some people view God as very engaged. But we have a God that is very engaged in our lives. He is not just looking through a glass. We're not in a fish tank and God's throwing us crumbs. God is very engaged in our lives. There's some great verses of hope in the book of Hebrews chapter 6 that I'm going to read to you. Great verses of hope. Because God is engaged in your life. God sees you. God just doesn't see us collectively. He sees us individually. In Hebrews chapter 6 at verse 18, the writer of Hebrews says this, that by two immutable things in which it is impossible for God to lie, number one, God cannot lie. Immutable means unchangeable. By two unchangeable things that it's impossible for God to lie, we might have strong consolation. We're not talking about fuzzy feelings. We're not talking about warm feelings. We're talking about strong consolation. We might have strong consolation, who have fled for refuge to lay hold upon the hope that is set before us. The devil had you bound, the devil had you doing all kinds of things, but you fled for refuge to the hope that is in Jesus Christ. And that hope provides you with strong consolation, not just a little consolation. Which hope we have as an anchor of the soul, both sure and steadfast, which entereth into that within the veil where the forerunner is for us entered, even Jesus made a high priest forever according to the order of Melchizedek. So even through doubts, trials, tribulations, and fears, we have unchangeable hope in Christ. And this hope that puts us right through the veil to enter into the very presence of God. As we hold on to this hope, we go right where Jesus went. Right through the veil to enter into the very presence of God. So we have a very engaged God in what we're doing. He's very, very conscious of us. He sees us. Paul, the apostle, in Romans 14:4 said this, who art thou that judgest another man's servant? To his own master he standeth or falleth. Yea, he shall be holden up, for God is able to make him stand. And folks, there's going to be times in your life when you're going to be so down and out, you're going to have to maybe even go to a mirror and quote this verse and say, yes, I will get through this because God Himself is able to get me through it. I cannot get up by it on my own, but God is able to make me stand. God is able to hold me up in all circumstances. My little boat is out on the ocean, and it's anchored into the hope of Jesus Christ, and it will not capsize. As long as I'm anchored into Him, my boat will not capsize. There will be waves, there will be storms, and some of the rudders might fall off of it, some of the sails might break, and it might need repair from time to time by the working of the Holy Scriptures. But my boat will not capsize if I'm anchored into Jesus Christ. So when you get in those times of trial, say, God is able to hold me up. God is able. I'm not able to hold me up. I've got more than I can deal with, but God Himself is able to hold me up. And then the last reason we can have hope that is a tremendous, what did Paul call it? A strong consolation. Why can we have this? Is because when there are no tomorrows, do you know the old song, many things about tomorrow I don't seem to understand, but I know who holds tomorrow, and I know who holds my hand. It's a great old song. But someday there's going to be for each of us a point where there are no more tomorrows. Our tomorrows will be done, but even then, this gospel that we preach, this gospel that we teach, gives us hope. Even when this life is folded, when this tent is folded, when this body is done, this gospel gives us hope. I would definitely agree with the brother that came and preached to us a couple of Sundays ago, or last Sunday, my mind, you know. Brother Hale said he was not much of an end-time preacher, and I'm not either. Herschel Meek used to say something great about people that argued over such things. And he would say that they are arguing over the shucks when we have the corn. And people that get all bogged down in, well, is the rapture coming today or tomorrow? When's the Lord coming? You know the Lord is here. And I want to take advantage that He is here in spirit today. He's touched me today in this church. He's touched you. Yes. Don't get all worried about the Lord coming, because the Lord's right here for you to grab onto right now. But that's a commercial. Yes, but the Lord, we must not focus on things that divide like that. We must not focus on things that unite us, as long as they're scriptural. So it's important to realize that we have hope even when our tomorrows are no more. In 1 Corinthians chapter 15, I will read just a little bit to you of this hope that we have after death. You can turn there if you want to. It's 15:51 of 1 Corinthians. This is what Paul said: "Behold, I show you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, we shall not all be dead, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump, for the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed. For this corruptible must put on incorruption, and this mortal must put on immortality. So when this corruption shall have put on incorruption, and this mortal shall have put on immortality, then shall be brought to pass the saying that is written, Death is swallowed up in victory. Death is swallowed up in victory." Our hope in Christ don't just end here. Death is swallowed up in victory. Yes. "O death, where is thy sting? O grave, where is thy victory?" So this hope does not end here. It goes even beyond the grave. Paul said in Romans 14:8, "For whether we live unto the Lord, or whether we die unto the Lord. Whether we live, therefore, or die, we are the Lord's." Once the Lord has put His seal on us, we are His. Whether we are here, or in the ground, or in heaven, wherever we are, but we are the Lord's. If you need some encouragement today, the church will pray for you. If you need to be lifted, the church will pray for that to happen. Brother Gary's going to come now and lead the altar call. But the church will pray for you if you need some encouragement, because we do have encouragement in Jesus Christ.